Good day, everyone. This is Christian Maiorino from the Sound Archives, and today's video is going to be part 3 of the Ozzy versus Dio series. So if you haven't checked out part 1 and part 2 yet, please check out those two videos. I actually have behind me the two records that I had reviewed, or two of the records that I reviewed in the previous edition of this series. So part one covered the 1970s period, the three Rainbow albums that Dio sang on up against the last three Black Sabbath albums with Ozzy, and then part two covered, of course, Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman versus Heaven and Hell and the Mob Rules. So please check those videos out. So today's video, we're obviously continuing the examining the albums and the discographies of one Ozzy Osbourne and Ronnie James Dio. So of course today's video will cover the Dio band albums from the 80s along with the remaining Ozzy solo albums from the 80s. So we'll be going from Holy Diver through Dream Evil on the Dio side, and on the Ozzy side will be Bark at the Moon through No Rest for the Wicked. Of course, it's a little bit different today as far as the format because previous videos, of course, were going album to album, year to year, but of course here we have an extra album on the Dio side, so I guess we'll do a 2-for-1 comparison in this video. So, just going to grab myself a little water here to stay hydrated. So, kind of continuing off with the last video in the series. And of course, as many people probably watching this video are already aware, the Dio era of Black Sabbath initially obviously didn't last as long as the original Ozzy era. He only sang on 2 studio albums. They did a live album, and apparently there were some disagreements there when they're in the mixing process of that live album, and maybe for other various reasons. Dio split from Black Sabbath. He took Vinny Appice with him on drums, and they formed the Dio band. So, of course, they had playing on bass on those, or initially anyway, was Jimmy Bain, who, of course, was in Rainbow with Dio. And then actually Jakey Lee actually initially came in on guitar, but he was quickly replaced by Vivian Campbell. So that lineup, that was the original Dio band. Of course, they put out this album right here, Holy Diver. This is easily Dio's most iconic and probably best known album, certainly the most popular, and I think with good reason. It's a really good album. I think if anyone knows one album or one thing by Dio, it's this record right here. But of course, right away, Stand Up and Shout, you got the opening track right there, which is a fast pumping rockin' song. The bass is popping on that. You got the drums smashing, the guitars ripping. Great song. Then you got the title track, Holy Diver, which is an iconic Dio song right there. You got the creepy opening. Gypsy, another really good song off this one. Caught in the Middle, a little bit more of a melodic song right there. And then, of course, closing side one is Don't Talk to Strangers. Another great track right there. Then moving on to the second side, we have Straight Through the Heart, which is another ripping song. I like the solo in this one. It's like the notes just kind of like drop in there. You got the song Invisible, which is starts off as more of a ballad kind of, and then of course gets heavy a minute or two in the song. You got Rainbow in the Dark, which is probably easily Dio's probably best known or biggest hit song as far as with the Dio band. You got that, iconic keyboard thing going on at the beginning. Of course, even some memorable lyrics there. Then closing out the album, you have Shame on the Night, which is just a kind of slower, a little bit more bluesy there, but still really good song. You got that kind of the wolf howl in there in the beginning. But all in all, great album, iconic. You got the iconic cover art here with the priest in the water. And of course, the Dio band mascot there, his name is Murray. He looks like he's whipping him with the chain there. Um, all in all, iconic album, great album. Set the template for pretty much anything that Dio, their style, everything that they were known for was really, really right here. So, also coming out in 1983, of course, you have Ozzy Osbourne putting out Bark at the Moon. So there's my copy on CD right there. Looks like it's coming out a little blurry on the camera, unfortunately. Iconic album right here coming out with Ozzy. Of course, you got the famous cover art there, which is kind of hard to see right here, but it's Ozzy in this kind of the werewolf kind of getup right there. Coming in on here, of course, on guitar, you have Jakey Lee coming in as a permanent member. Of course, Ozzy, after losing Randy Rhoads tragically in that accident, he had a couple other guitar players coming in with him to finish out that tour. You had, I believe it was Bernie Torme, who did a couple shows, and then Brad Gillis, who, of course, appeared on the live Speak of the Devil album. They kind of finished out the Diary of a Madman tour, but it was Jakey Lee who eventually came in to officially replace Randy on guitar. So, of course, he had some pretty big shoes to fill there. Of course, Randy being obviously an iconic player, and obviously being sorely missed by Ozzy and by the fans. So, but he does a phenomenal job. He's a great guitar player and does a phenomenal job playing on this album. Of course, you still have Bob Daisley on bass on this one, and coming in on drums, you have Tommy Aldrich. Well, let's get to the songs on this one. Of course, you have opening the album, you have the title track, Bark at the Moon, which is a phenomenal, classic, killer song. One of Ozzy's best. It was one that, for a long time, it would be his encore at his concerts, and of course, he would moon the crowd with that one. Then, of course, you got the second track, You're No Different, which is not a bad song. Some good playing on that. Now You See It, Now You Don't. The third track, I personally don't like that song that much. Then coming to that, you got Rock and Roll Rebel. Killer song. It's the lyrics are great. It's kind of Ozzy's more or less middle finger to his critics. People claiming that he worships the devil and all that was going on in the 80s right there. Sadly, it's a song that I think should have been included in the live set in the later years, but unfortunately, I never got to hear that track live, and it would have been a song that would love to have heard Ozzy play live. But maybe if he ever goes on tour again, who knows? Obviously, he's up there in the years, and with the pandemic and all that going on, who knows if we'll get to see another Ozzy tour right there. But anyway, after that, you got Center of Eternity, just a freaking epic song right there. The opening kind of starts out with these bells and the chanting and everything going on there, and then it just gets really fast with the guitar once the song gets rocking. Great solos, great fills, epic song all around. Then of course you get So Tired, which is a ballad, which the title, like it says, makes you want to yawn. Don't really like that song that much. Then you got Slow Down, which is not a bad song. It's a little catchy there, the kind of drum and guitar thing there going on at the beginning I like. And the break in the middle with the solo is also good. And then closing out the album officially is the song Waiting for Darkness, which is a good song. An epic album closer. I like the keyboards and the guitar, especially right before the solo there at the end. And then I guess as a bonus track on some versions, at least on my CD, you have the song Spiders in the Night, which is it's an okay song. So all in all, I like Bark at the Moon. I think it's a good album. I don't think it's a great album. Like I was saying before, there's always some really great songs on here. But then there's a couple kind of weaker songs that I don't like that much. Like I said, So Tired. So there's a couple songs that kind of drag the album down a little bit. But overall, not bad. So first up, I'm going to do a comparison here. We'll do Holy Diver versus Bark at the Moon. I think in this case, these albums side by side, I'm gonna say Holy Diver is definitely the better of the two. Um, there's not a weak song on this record. The whole thing is just from start to finish, great album. Um, Bark at the Moon, obviously, also really good, but still, like I was saying, there's some songs that kind of drag it down. So these albums side by side, I think Holy Diver is the better of the two. So moving right along here, of course, both those albums came out 1983. Moving along to 1984, of course, Dio puts out the second Dio album. Of course, that being The Last in Line. Another iconic album right there coming out. Another really good one. The album opens up right away. Of course, I don't have a physical copy of that one, so I'll try to show my CD or my phone version right here, which is coming out a little blurry. Maybe I'll try to drop in the cover art there when I go back to edit this. But right away, right off the rip, you got We Rock, which is just, they're making their statement right there. We rock. And the album rocks. What else can you say right there? Of course, you get on to the title track, Last in Line. Another iconic Dio song right there. Kind of has that soft beginning, and then, Dio says down, the song gets heavy, and of course, yeah, the music video that went with this song, which shows the kid in the elevator, and right when Dio says down, of course, the elevator is going down into the abyss or into hell or wherever it's going. And then, of course, you got Breathless, another good song off that one. I Speed at Night, just another fast rockin' song. The whole band is really just on fire here. One Night in the City, it's a good mid-pace rocker right there. I like the catchy little keyboard part right there, of course, before the chorus, and even during the guitar solo. Evil Eyes, another good song on that one. Eat Your Heart Out, decent song. Of course, you got Mystery, which is a more melodic, maybe a song they're trying to go for, kind of like a Rainbow in the Dark, trying to be that catchy hit song. And then closing out the album, you have Egypt, The Chains Are On, just great epic song. Overall, Last in Line, I mean, it's a great album. It's, I would say, almost as good as Holy Diver. The album, of course, had more or less the same lineup. Actually, it's pretty much the same lineup as Holy Diver, but of course, he had officially coming in on keyboards on that one. You had Claude Schnell coming in on keyboards officially, so he was a fine addition to the Dio fold. So now, of course, with this one, since we have an extra album right here in this series, I'll compare Last in Line. I'll put that up against Bark at the Moon, and I would say I think Last in Line is a better record compared to Bark at the Moon for the same reasons that Holy Diver is. There really isn't a weak song on that album, although I would say that Last in Line is probably not quite as good as Holy Diver, but it's almost there. But I don't know. I think Holy Diver is just the better of the two. So moving along, so that Last in Line came out in '84. And then, of course, you had 1985. Dio puts out their next album, Sacred Heart, which I got right here on the record. This one is the same lineup as the Last in Line, and another good album. This one, of course, opens with King of Rock and Roll, which I read an interview with Dio somewhere, and of course you think King of Rock and Roll, you think he was singing about Elvis, but apparently he said he was actually dedicated that song to Ozzy, or wrote the song about Ozzy Osbourne. So it's kind of interesting there. Then of course you get the title track, Sacred Heart, which is a killer song right there, killer song. I like everything, the keyboards, everything in that, the guitar. Another Lie, good rockin' song. Rock and Roll Children, of course, another great track right there, catchy. That one, of course, had a music video accompanying that one. Of course, you got Dio in that one looking all mysterious, and he's looking in the crystal ball, and the two kids in the video. But iconic video, great song. Hungry for Heaven, This is the one, of course, so I think they're going for more the, that hit song on that one. Like the Beat of a Heart. Good song, heavy, mid-paced rocker. The last couple of tracks on this album were okay. Just Another Day, Fallen Angels, and Shoot Shoot. The last couple tracks on this album are, they're okay. They're not great. So overall, I think there's, of course, great playing on this album. There's some great iconic songs off of this record, but I don't think it's as good as the other two Dio albums, as a Holy Diver or Last in Line. Of course, this would be Vivian Campbell's last album with Dio. He left in the middle of the tour, and he would be replaced by Craig Goldie. So, but all in all, good album. So coming up next, of course, 1986, Ozzy Osbourne puts out this masterpiece right here, The Ultimate Sin. Another iconic album. It's kind of hard right here, but it's the album cover on this CD. It's kind of small and it's coming out a little blurry. But of course, that one you got Ozzy's face on this kind of dragon thing right there, and then you got the woman there in the tight pants and looking demonic. She's kind of the one, I guess, the one that you see in the Shot in the Dark video, and I think also the Ultimate Sin video. Of course, you still have Jake E. Lee on guitar on this one. Playing on bass, you have Phil Susan, I don't know how to pronounce it, and Randy Castillo on drums. And although Bob Daisley does not play on this album, he does share a lot of the songwriting credits for all the songs, I think with the exception of Shot in the Dark, I think is the only song. But getting to the songs on right here, you got The Ultimate Sin, which is just a great, heavy, rockin' song. Of course, you got the music video right there. Ozzy looking like some type of oil tycoon, and also with his ridiculous bleach blonde hair, and then the concert video interspersed with these wearing these ridiculous outfits. But still, good song, funny video. And they got Secret Loser, which is another catchy track on this one. Never Know Why. It's a good song. I like the chorus in that one. You got a good solo from Jake E. Lee. Thank God for the Bomb. Another great song. Love Jake's opening riff on that. Never, which is another good song. Another song that I really like the guitar work in. Lightning Strikes. Good song right there. A memorable one with Ozzy. They made a video for that one. Of course, Ozzy is looking like King Kong. The part where he looks like King Kong and he's like grabbing the woman out of the thing. It's silly, but it's great. Killer of Giants. Another track on there. Great epic power ballad right there. Fool Like You. Another good song. More great guitar work. And of course, closing out the album, you have the big hit song, Shot in the Dark. I mean, what else can you say? Great song. Another memorable video that went along with that one. So, yeah, this album right here is just, it's hit after hit after hit. And I think it's definitely a step up, I think, from Bark at the Moon. A lot of great guitar playing from Jake E. Lee on this one. Of course, it was this tour where 86, where of course he had Metallica opening for Ozzy, which was kind of maybe one of their first exposures to a more mainstream audience. So that was a step up for them, of course. But overall, great album. So I think what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to compare this one, Ultimate Sin, versus Sacred Heart with Dio. So I think this album to this album, I think Ozzy is the winner here. Ultimate Sin, I think, is the stronger of these two albums. Like I said, this album, I don't think there's really a weak song on here, where Sacred Heart has kind of, starts out great, but then has kind of a couple weaker tracks towards the end. But this one really never lets up. They're both good albums, but this one's better, I think. So, alright, so moving along here. Of course, 1987, you got the Dream Evil album by Dio coming out, and unfortunately, I don't have physical copy of that one. This is another one I just could show you on the phone right here. So there we go. That one you got Dio, the Dio mascot Murray there in the background, in the window, looking on the child sleeping there in the bed with all these kind of monsters and things kind of crawling out from under the bed. So on this one, you have most of the same band, but of course Vivian Campbell, he was left Dio on the previous tour, and you had Craig Goldie coming in on guitar. And I know some people don't like Craig Goldie as much as of a guitar player as much as like Vivian, and some people don't like his playing. But I think Craig Goldie is, he's a good guitar player. I think he fit in with Dio good here. So of course, getting to the songs on this one, we're opening in with Night People. Great song. I love the kind of keyboard introduction there where it comes in almost kind of going bah, 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 and then the song just goes in, rocks. Title track, classic Dio right there, Dream Evil. Sunset Superman, fucking killer song. I love that one. We kind of get the break in the middle there with the drums going boof, psh, boof, boof. All around great song. All the Fools Sailed Away, epic song right there with Dio. Naked in the Rain, a good mid-paced rocker right there. Overlove, I love the kind of bluesy guitar intro in that song, and then it just goes into this rockin' song. Another good one there. I Could Have Been a Dreamer. Of course, this is another one where they're trying to go for that big hit song right there. Not a bad song. Faces in the Window, I love that song. The chorus, I think, is just catchy as hell. I find myself singing that to myself a lot. And then, of course, this album closes out with When a Woman Cries. Another good song. I like when Dio sings When a Woman Cries, and then you get the keyboard almost kind of like echoing his vocals right there. I don't know, I love that part of the song. So, all in all, Dream Evil. It's a great album. I think it's a step up from Sacred Heart. Like I said, Sacred Heart had a couple of weaker songs. I don't think Dream Evil has really any weak songs, and it's actually, I think, one of Dio's best. I might put it up there with Holy Diver. So all in all, great album. And then coming up after, of course, 1988, Ozzy puts out the No Rest for the Wicked album, which, of course, I don't have a physical copy of that one either, so I'm going to try to, again, just do the little phone thing right here. Unfortunately, that's a little blurry, so I'll try to get some album covers there inserted in. But, of course, with this one, we have another little personnel change. Of course, Jake E. Lee is out. You got Zakk Wylde coming in on this one, who, of course, would go on to be Ozzy's guitarist for many, many years. Some people really like Zack's playing. Some people don't. He does rely a lot, of course, of those pitched harmonics, which is, very much part of his style. I think regardless, I think Zakk Wylde really shines on this album. Of course, he was very young. He was only 21 years old when he started, when he came in on this album. But, of course, Bob Daisley, he played on bass on this album, but I believe he didn't tour. He had Geezer touring with him for this record. Of course, Bob Daisley, seems like, at least a lot of these classic albums, with Ozzy, he obviously was very heavily involved with the songwriting on there. You see, I have Randy Castillo on drums on this one, and then, of course, on my notes right here, I think I put John Sinclair on keyboards. Of course, opening this album, you have the song Miracle Man, classic Ozzy, killer song. Another great music video, too, with Ozzy there in the church and the pigs running around. And I think it's funny, the lyric where he says, Jimmy got busted with his pants down, and Ozzy's motioning his pants going down in the video. It's silly, makes me chuckle. Of course, I was saying the song is about Jimmy Swaggart, who's the televangelist, who, of course, was, one of those people being critical of Ozzy for being a devil worshiper and all that. Of course, he gets, at the time it was big news where he got caught with the prostitute or whatever, and, Ozzy just wrote a song making fun of him, so it's great. Devil's Daughter, another great song right here. Then you get Crazy Babies, which is another one. It's kind of, I don't know, a little bit silly, but I like the song. Breaking All the Rules, the next track, another great song by Ozzy. Bloodbath in Paradise, rockin' song, of course, written about Charles Manson. Yet Fire in the Sky, more of a power ballad. I like the song. I like the guitar tone in that song. Tattooed Dancer, another fast rockin' song. Demon Alcohol, which probably written about Ozzy, I think. Another great song, catchy. I like the lyrics. It's, one is never enough, but 10 is, one is too much, but 10 is not enough. There'll be no compromise today. Obviously, again, it's alluding to the song Suicide Solution there as well, which of course was also, at least according to Bob Daisley, written about Ozzy. Then you get the last two tracks, Hero and The Liar. Hero's an okay song. The Liar is ballad. I don't really like that song that much. I think it, it's a weak album closer. I mean, this album just starts out so great. Again, you get hit after hit, and then it just seems to kind of go limp there at the end. But regardless, iconic album, great album. I love it. So I think what we'll do now is comparing No Rest for the Wicked by Ozzy against Dream Evil by Dio. I think these two albums right here, I kind of had the hardest time deciding which one I like better, but I think Dream Evil is probably just a hair razor thin better. Again, there's not really a weak track on that album. No Rest for the Wicked, still a great album, but again, it kind of goes limp there at the end with the, just closing with the ballad and even Hero, which I think is kind of a weaker song. But honestly, the rest of the songs on that album are still really great, so I could probably do this video next week and say I like No Rest for the Wicked better. But anyway, those are the albums that I've compared today. So I guess if there's anything else that I could really comment on right here, it's, I think Dio, there was no denying that he was probably the better singer of the two. But I think Ozzy is definitely more of a showman. Of course, these albums came out at the height of Ozzy's popularity and Dio's popularity. But also, in the 80s, the height, the popularity of heavy metal music, and of course MTV as well. You had so many iconic music videos that were being made, so that were made for these albums right here. And I think I like Ozzy's videos better than Dio's videos. I think. Of course, some of the the Dios, they're all great. I like all the the Last in Line video, the Holy Diver, and all that. But I think for the video format, Ozzy, I think was just better suited for the MTV era. Ozzy, I didn't really research as far as which albums were charting better, but I would say that Ozzy was probably still the more popular of the two as far as record sales and all that. But of course, Dio was still, they're both at the height of their popularities here, both putting on ridiculous, putting a lot into their stage shows at this point. Of course, I think it was the Sacred Heart tour. Dio had the laser thing with the Dio logo there, and of course, a lot of the credit has to be given to the band members that are playing here, the different musicians. Of course, you have, Ozzy with Jakey Lee and Zakk Wylde there on guitar, both iconic players, and of course Dio, he had Vivian Campbell, and of course Craig Goldie after that, but also the other, Vivian, or not Vivian Campbell, but Vinny Appice on drums, great drummer, and of course he had Jimmy Bain on bass. Claude Schnell, all great musicians, and of course, on the Ozzy side, having Bob Daisley and Phil Susan, who I guess actually, which I didn't mention before, he shared the songwriting credit on Shot in the Dark. Of course, Randy Castillo on drums, but they just had so many great musicians helping them, produce these great, iconic, and classic albums. So anyway, I think we'll conclude the video there. If you like what you see here, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and let me know which albums that you think are better. Of course, I'm just giving you my opinions, really, of which albums that I think are better, but of course everyone has their opinions of what they think are better. So please leave your comments below. Say which albums you like better. And next video will be part 4, and that will cover the 1990s era albums that Dio sang on and that Ozzy sang on. So until then, this is Christian Maiorino from the Sound Archives, and hope to see you on the next video.